Yes, ma'am. Hopefully, we'll talk later after the program. All right. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you find yourself today. It's always a pleasure coming your way to, excuse me, have some discussions and deliberate on issues, especially. I know most of the time we talk about issues concerning Ghana and Africa as a whole, because we're concerned about issues going on um, in the motherland, and we believe that together we can help solve some of the problems going on. Dr. King says something. He said, "Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere." So we believe that we cannot sit in isolation and think it's not us, so we don't care. With that being said, I want to invite all of us to analyze this. And I hope we are going to do justice to the issues we're going to be discussing today. Just to zoom straight to, yeah, Dan Cossack is waving the Ghana flag. I see you. That's my brother from another mother. Miss Michelle, long time. We're going to talk. And on this platform, we don't entertain insults. This is a platform for discussion. However, we entertain dissenting opinions. If you have divergent opinions, if you have any different opinion from what we are expressing on this platform, we would love. As a matter of fact, that's one of the things we really love to do, so we can dissect it, we can tear opinions apart and learn from each other so we can arrive at a very um, sensible conclusion. So we invite dissenting opinions on this platform so we can learn, because we cannot learn if we are looking at stuff from only one angle, or if we're looking at stuff from only one spectacle. It does not it does not help our brain to do some thinking. It does not make the brain um, run around and try to decipher stuff and try to dig into stuff. So when we have divergent opinions, we can think. That is why sometimes I find it very difficult to understand people when they get criticized. I mean, when the criticism is a constructive one, especially the politicians. This, I believe, this the time you have to sit back and put your brain to work and let your brain do the work, and go through all the stuff that has been thrown at you to find out if there is any merit, or if there is any cause for you to fix something or change something for the betterment of yourself and your community as well. So divergent opinions, they're very, very critical, and they are very much needed. I was telling somebody the other time that I saw a video which I thought was very profound. Two people arguing on a number, and from each other's perspective, they're seeing the number differently. It's the number six to the other person, and it's the number nine to the other person on the opposite side of the number. So, can we say they're both wrong? No. Can we say they're both right? No. We can only tell whether it's right or wrong based on whoever wrote the number. What was the intention behind the writing of the number? What was the person aiming at writing? What was the person aiming at communicating? But the people who are deciphering the issues weren't wrong, because from his perspective, he's seeing 9. From the other person's perspective, he's seeing 6. But if both of them can come together and think through it and even get the perspective of the writer of the number, it'll help. You understand? So we have to go through life with that attitude, with that perception. It's not, we're not always right. We don't have all the solutions. So that is why we need dissenting opinions as well. So again, we don't entertain insult on this platform. We discuss on this platform. We don't argue on this platform. Last, before we start our discussion today, is our usual statement. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. I don't know how much I really want this statement to sink into our minds and sink into our being. Creativity and inventions are not by the color of one's skin, but by an educated mind. Irrespective of the color of your skin, if you educate yourself, education simply means enlightening your mind. If you throw light into your mind, let your mind do what it does best. The mind is meant to search. The mind is meant to tear things apart. The mind is meant to ask questions. The mind is meant to research and find solutions. So if we can only let our minds do what it's meant for, we would be able to go through some of the issues, navigate through some of the issues successfully without much effort. And so creativity is not limited to the color of a skin. And I always want to emphasize this. Those of you who are coming from where I'm coming from, specifically Africa, Ghana, would understand why this is so important to me, for people to get this in their spirit and in their soul, in their mind, and in every fiber of their being, that creativity has nothing to do with the color of the skin, but it has everything to do with an educated mind. An enlightened mind can do anything. And so let us educate our minds and create and innovate and invent. All right. Today we're going to be talking about some issues going on in the northern part of Ghana. Most people who are from Ghana will know what I'm talking about, the Boko issue. Some records going on. It's kind of, I don't want to say tribal. Yeah, it's basically a tribal war. I know it's not like people at the war front, but people are killing each other. People are killing themselves up north in the Bako area, um, due to chieftaincy issues, traditional issues that needs to be fixed. I want to bring our attention to the fact that, so the narrative out there is divergent. Some people are calling for military action. The military would have to go in and seize the town and install or enforce peace. In the first place, you cannot enforce peace. I know some people might be thinking, what the heck is he talking about? You cannot force peace. Peace cannot be forced on the people. You can enforce tranquility. You can enforce quietness, but you cannot enforce peace. Peace is the establishment of truth. And peace got to be established by bringing all parties to the truth. That is the only way you can establish peace. Peace is not the absence of war. When the guns are quiet, does not mean you have peace. You have some level of tranquility, but you don't have peace. Because that is why sometimes I hear people trying to even make fun of some of the things going on up north and say, hey, even a guinea fowl can trigger war between these people. Yes, the war is not based on the guinea fowl or the chicken. The issue is a deep-seated issue. So that is just a trigger point. The people are looking for an opportunity to vent out what is within them. So that is why it is important for all the parties involved, the government, the traditional authorities, to be able to sit. I want to believe, I want to believe, I want to believe the dialogue. I so much believe in the principle of dialogue and negotiations. For me, that is the only way out of this issue. I know some people are calling for the militarization of the issue, and I don't believe that is going to be the solution. I don't think that's going to be the solution. In the first place, let's take a critical look at the militarization of the issue. Uh, so I was listening to a couple of programs in the past week when I was getting myself prepared for today. And one of the presenters was talking about the fact that the military would have to be brought into the issue. Um, I don't, I don't think that is the solution. And as he was discussing the issue, he even went further to say that there are certain um, paramilitary groups in Burkina Faso, in certain parts of Africa, the neighbors of the northern part of Ghana are very much interested in what is going on there. And they can infiltrate and turn this whole thing into a full-blown tribal war. And it can get out of hands if we don't take care. And I was asking myself, so you are analyzing this issue from this perspective, and yet you're calling for the militarization of the issue. I really couldn't connect the two. Because the moment you militarize the issue, you are giving room for combat. Because the moment they realize that the army is there to enforce or to force them to do what they think is not right for them, you are breeding the grounds for combat. So then they would now seek help from elsewhere. They will look for other groups, or you see, the colonial masters were very crafty. They were very, very crafty in putting Africa in the space we find ourselves in today. I know most people would not understand, but let me give a little historical background to some of the things going on in certain parts of Africa. Yes, I'm one of the people who believe that let's look at the solution from the creation of the problem, and then we work our way from that angle. So we work our way from history into the future. I don't believe in just blaming history and leaving it right there. We're not blaming history, but we're looking at the whole picture historically, so it'll give us some grounds to be able to work our way into the future. So what the colonial masters did, or the colonizers, let me put it that way. I think I don't have to give them too much premium by putting masters on their heads. So the colonizers cut through the boundaries of certain countries. They cut those boundaries through tribes. So you find the same tribe whose part of the tribe is in Ghana. Part of that same tribe is Ivory Coast or Cote d'Ivoire. And then when you come to the eastern part, the same tribe, you find part of them in Ghana, part of them in Togo. And then when you go up north, the same tribe, you find part of them in Ghana, you find part of them in Burkina Faso. This is the reason. And so far, it's working as they planned it. So far, it's working as they planned it. So, for instance, where anytime there's an issue between the same tribe, you have those who are in Burkina Faso who might be claiming title to something which is in Ghana. Those in Ghana will be claiming something which they feel entitled to in Ghana, and this will spark a conflict. So basically what's going on up north, a group of the people can call for reinforcement from across the border. It's the same people. They're part of them. They speak the same language, same culture, same everything. And sometimes they even have same families. Because I know some families in the Ashanti region who's sorry, in the Bronx region whose should I say paramount king happens to be in Cote d'Ivoire. I'm not mentioning names here, but those who know. There's certain group of people in the Bronx region of Ghana whose family head or the king they pay homage to happens to be in Cote d'Ivoire. So it tells you the kind of conflict that can generate, especially when it comes to the kingship and who is to ascend to the throne. This family will say, it's our turn. This family will say, no, you are not in Ghana. You are all the way in Cote d'Ivoire. So you cannot be part of this. This family will say, this is the family tree. We're entitled to. And then it generates into a conflict. Again, on this platform, we don't only talk about problems, we also talk about solutions. And one of the things I have always advocated for, or this platform has always advocated for, is the fact that why can't we use this to our benefit? Why can't we use this to our benefit in the sense that it gives us understanding that we are the same people, we are one people, so we ought to unite. And this will have to come from the political perspective, from the political angle, or from the political powers. There was a time where the president in Cote d'Ivoire happens to have his lineage or traced his lineage to the Ashanti region. Even though he does not call himself a Ghanaian, he calls himself an Ivorian. And yet his family is in Ghana. Two countries. So all I'm saying is let us flip the coin to our benefit. As Africans, let us flip the coin to our benefit. It's the same way. We have African Americans, we have Africans, Jamaicans, we have Africans in the Caribbeans, Africans scattered all over the world. Let's use that linkage to come together as one people. Let us not use the distance to put us apart or to put us asunder or to put us at each other's throat. It is not going to be to the benefit of anybody, but it will lead to the demise of us. So let us look at it from a different perspective. Let us flip the coin. So all I'm saying on the Baku issue is that, please, I know, um, I believe they are setting up a committee, or they've already set up a committee, which the His Royal Majesty the Otunfo, um, um, the Asante King is going to oversee that. He did it before in the north, in a different section of the north. He did it before, and he's been tasked to do it again this time. And I want to believe that he will be successful. I believe that we should all support, we should all hope, we should all throw in our little bit to support this initiative to make it work. We want to believe in his kingdom. We want to believe in the powers he has. We want to believe in his authority to be able to help bring or mediate solution in the north to this particular issue, because the only way we can bring solution to the issue is to be non-combative. We need to bring all parties involved. We got to have everybody at the table and solve the issue once and for all. It's been an old issue, and it goes to sleep for a while, and then it gets resurrected after a while, and the politicians needs to stay out of it because it is politically being motivated. That is the influence, the fuel to all of these things going on in Boko is political. That is why I'm glad it's the Otunforo who is going to be in charge of these negotiations. He's going to lead these negotiations. And I want to believe that he will keep the politicians out of these negotiations. And like I said, as he did it before, he would do it again. It's about time. It's about time, because we cannot just sit and let a section of the country be killing themselves. And like I said, sometimes it's not like a full-blown war, but gradually and quietly, people are killing each other over petty things, just all because of deep-seated ill, based on history, based on traditional whatever narratives. We don't need that. But those who were calling for the military to come in, I believe it is good. And I think that they already have a military base out there to enforce certain rules like the curfew and what have you, which has been passed in that area. That is fine. But let us limit the use of force and the use of guns. Because if we don't, we have people, mercenaries, we have people who are looking for an opportunity to take undue advantage of what is going on in the north. And that can go a long way to destabilize the whole nation. I know sometimes people might be thinking, oh, it's just a little portion of the northern part of Ghana. It's okay. It's nothing. But look, some of these people have moved. Some of these people have traveled to the southern part and and they've set up. We know that. We know them. We know that they have set up the communities where they are known by those communities. They have, so it can easily degenerate into something different and something crazy. So we need to come together and silence the guns. Keep the guns out of this and let us negotiate. That is what rational human beings do. And in ending, I want to quote Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. He said, when violence begets violence, there is no victor nor vanquished. You cannot kill violence with violence. Let's put the guns down for the people in Boko, the youth in Boko. Put the guns down. Let's go back to the negotiation table and let us negotiate. And those involved in the negotiation, I want to believe and hope that you will do the right thing, so a lasting peace can be brought to Boko. Alrighty. The next thing I want to talk about is the instant justice. The instant justice. It saddens me when I see certain videos. I saw a couple of videos um this week. I know it has multiple faces. I know it's because of the distrust of the law enforcement agencies. So usually people want to take the law into their own hands and do what they think is right. But it's not right. There is a common saying that two wrongs don't make a right. In the first place, there's a reason why we give people the opportunity to defend themselves. So the youth who are out there who think that this week I had to engage a couple of the people on social media where they claim that if you send this person to the police station, the next minute you see him walking around and you probably will become the target of this person because the police is going to snitch on you, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And so it's better that the mob or the people in the community would take or would demand their pound of flesh from this person by either beating him up or sometimes even killing the person. But one thing you have to understand is that apart from the rights of that person, the constitutional right, the democratic rights of that person to be heard in court, there is also the element of you get more information from this person to nip that particular issue in the back. Probably he's not the only person involved. Probably he's just the lower base person. So when you give the authorities the opportunity to investigate, then they can find out the root cause. Then they can get to the root cause of the issue to help eliminate that particular issue within the community or within the society. So it is important that we give the law a chance. Number two, it is a lawful society. It's a lawful society. We don't live in an animal kingdom. It's only animals who do that, who demanded their pound of flesh anytime they feel aggrieved or they feel wronged. Rational human beings will give opportunity for people to explain themselves. And there are so many instances where instant justice it's ended up killing innocent people. Sometimes, especially when it comes to the issue of thieves within the community, somebody will start yelling, thief, 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 and an innocent person, passerby, will be pounced upon, mistakenly thinking that he is the person. And by the time you realize you've ended up the life of an innocent person. How do you bring this person back? So it is important we give time to finding the truth to some of these things. And in any case, everybody, even the hardest criminal, has the right to defend himself. He has the right to be heard. Even when you find you catch the person in the act, you don't have any right. Nobody has given you that authority. That is what happens in the nation or in a community or in a society of laws. People have their roles and their responsibilities to play. If you chance upon an act, an unlawful or a wrongful act, you hand over that person to the appropriate authorities. Even if you don't trust them, one of the things I keep telling people, if you feel you don't trust the authorities, that is why we have our rights to demonstrate. We can demonstrate, we can go on demonstration. We can picket, we can make all the noise. And thank God we have social media. We can put all the forces together against whichever system we don't like. The change is not going to happen overnight. It's a gradual process. So please, especially the youth, I want to plead with you. Let us not create a lawless society. If we want everything to work perfectly, let us hold people's feet to the law. Because the law is the standard for everybody. I was listening to a discussion the other time, and somebody said, we always kid ourselves by saying we're all equal before the law, but if the president has a convoy coming through, they usually have their sirens on, and cars will have to give way to the convoy. So it means that we're not equal before the law, because if we happens to be equal before the law, then the president will also have to be in traffic. And I said, dude, the president not staying in traffic is lawful because there's a law that gives him that opportunity. When we say we're all equal before the law, it does not mean people who act within the law, or when something seems to be out of the law, it means it is not lawful. There is a law that gives him that opportunity. So he's still subject to the law. Even though in your opinion, you think he is above the law by doing what he's doing, but he's not. There's a law that gives him that opportunity to go through traffic without staying within that traffic for security reasons, for agency reasons. And so please let us respect the law. That is why if you become a blockade or if you impede his traffic, you can be cited for an offense. If you think it's not lawful, how can you be cited for an offense if you impede his traffic? So let us respect the law. Instant justice is barbaric, is evil. You see, the value of human life is something you cannot put a price on. I don't care who it is. I don't care what acts this person or these persons have committed. The value of human life is something you cannot put the price on. It's priceless. And so if you mistakenly take a life, and that's it, you cannot do anything about it. You cannot bring the person back to life. You cannot go back and say, hey, I made a mistake. It's the wrong person. Can we resurrect to this person? It's not gonna happen. It's not done. The moment you take that life, it's gone. And we have no idea what that life is going to impact, or the impact that life is going to have on our generation, or even on ourselves. So we have to be careful. Let us not live in our emotions. Let's allow our mind to do what it does best, by thinking. Let's allow our minds to do what it does best, by thinking. And I want to encourage and beseech and plead with even musicians. These are some of the um, social forms of education, apart from using the traditional media and the national civic education organizations and what have you. The musicians, the filmmakers can all be a part of this to help solve the problem of instant justice. Make music about it, make songs, make movies. I think there's a movie, The Life of David Gale. It's one movie to combat capital punishment, or death sentences. And it's one of the most beautiful movies. It's one of my favorite movies, The Life of David Gale. So please, all the actors, all the players in the system, let us put our hands to the wheel and solve this problem. Let us educate people. And I want to believe some of the people don't even understand why they would have to go to that length by handing over this person to the police. And sometimes they might be asked to report to the police and give statements and what have you. It's a long process. You're wasting my time. Let's finish the person right here and then so we can have our peace. Some people don't even understand, but that is why I want to believe that when the education go out there, let us emphasize on the value of the human life. I believe that is going to be the first place we can start from. Irrespective of what the person has done, the person has the right to be heard. We got to bring this person before a court of competent jurisdiction so they can decide on what to do by the law, unless we want to create a lawless society. The survival of the fittest, the animal kingdom. And if we do that, that is going to result in a chaotic society, a chaotic environment, and we cannot thrive. Nobody can thrive in a chaotic environment. Nobody can thrive. Nobody can be successful. Nobody can be happy. Nobody can move forward and be progressive in a chaotic environment. So please, first, let's consider the human life. That is number one. Number two, well, first, let's consider the law. That is number one. Number two, let's consider the human life. Number three, let's give authorities the opportunity to get into the problem, to get into the nitty-gritty of the problem. So if there are other people involved, they can be fished out by giving them the opportunity to fish out information from whoever has the suspect. The moment we end the life of that suspect, we have tampered with justice. So please, please, I want to plead with you, especially the young ones. Let us not act within our emotions just because we are angry, or sometimes because you lost your property some weeks back. So the moment you hear somebody yelling out thief, you have to pounds on this person. It's not just the thieves, even within our communities. I mean, the impatient within certain communities in wanting to demand their pound of flesh physically from people is wrong. It is wrong. If you feel aggrieved, if you feel wronged, there are processes, there are due process you can follow to get your grievances addressed. If we are criticizing the politicians for being politicians, let us also look at our lives and make sure we're doing what is right before we demand the politicians to do the right things. So please, please, I want to beseech the youth especially. Instant justice is barbaric. It is wrong on all levels. It is backward. It's a kick. It's inhumane. It's a Stone Age practice that should not be entertained in this dispensation, in this knowledge age. We don't entertain foolishness in this knowledge age. So let us all learn to do what is right. My last thing I want to talk about before I bring, I think I have some few minutes to 3 o'clock, is the fire outbreaks in Ghana. I was on a platform last week when they were discussing some of these fire outbreaks. And one of the things I asked is how are they making sure that people have smoke detectors in their homes, in the marketplaces? Smoke detectors. You see, and I know how things are done in my beloved country. The fire department don't even always come around to inspect some of these structures to make sure the proper things are in place. They are following the due process, you know. And sometimes even if they do come around, the moment you give them what they call the brown envelope, it 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 writes everything you're doing. Oh, you're good. You're good to go. Yes, yes. He checks out and signs off on everything you're doing. Even if you're doing everything wrong, he checks out and signs off on it just because of the brown envelope. It's multiple layers of issues that needs to be looked at. Recently, we're having too many of those fire outbreaks where millions of properties. Thank God. Yes, I mean some lives have been lost too. I almost limited the whole thing to the marketplaces, but some homes also got burned and lives were lost. There was one time a whole family. And the saddest part of it was the fact that the husband was not around and he was on the phone with the wife, listening to the kids and the whole family burning to death. Jesus. I just I just can't wrap my mind around this. Please, let us make sure at least we have smoke detectors, fire extinguishers. Let authorities, we want to plead with you. I know sometimes you are handicapped because you don't have all the resources to do what you're supposed to be doing. But let us educate the people. Let us do the right thing with the little resources we have. Let us do the right thing. Marketplaces, let's make sure they have all the resources, they have all it takes. They're doing the right thing, especially when they're putting up the structures. Let us start the inspection from there. And one of the things I also want to plead is let us have fire stations close to some of these marketplaces. It is going to help. These are major marketplaces where almost everybody in Ghana comes to trade. And yet the nearest fire station is about some miles away. Please, please. Ghana Fire, is it authority or fire department, whatever they call themselves? Let us make sure we are doing the right thing. Let us begin to inspect the buildings, even right from the onset. When they are putting up the buildings, let us start inspecting, making sure the wiring is done right. The people involved are authorized to do what they are doing. If something is wrong, let us not allow our corrupt nature to overrule the wrong things. It'll come back to bite us in the butt. You may not know who is going to be within that building as of the time the fire starts. It could be your son, it could be your daughter, it could be your wife, it could be your husband, it could be your uncle, it could be your mom, it could be your auntie, it could be anybody related to you who is going to be caught up in these fires just because you refuse to do what is right by being interested in the brown envelope. Let us educate the public. Let's make smoke detectors available to the public. It is the first place it starts. So when the fire starts and the smoke rises up to the smoke detectors, it'll set off the alarm and people can leave the premises, or people can alert the fire departments on time. And in most cases, you realize that people don't even have the alert. All they see is the fire. Why? Because there are no smoke detectors. So when the fire starts, nobody knows. The moment you realize the flames are up, and that's when they're trying to call the fire department. And sometimes, this, I don't know how to explain this, but this does not make sense. When the fire department arrives and the people in the area are agitated and they want to fight the fire department, they're mad at them because they think they came with tenders and no water and blah blah blah. You don't even understand the nature of their work, and yet you're being confrontational. You're preventing them from doing their job. I think it's about time these people are arrested. Some of these people who get confrontational with the fire department for doing their jobs should be arrested and prosecuted. I saw a video, it was so appalling to me. I was so mad. When this guy is trying to fight this fire officer just because he thinks the tanker, the tender came with no water in it. Do you even understand the concept? You don't even know why they show up without any water in the fire tenders. You don't even understand. And let us also make sure the fire hydrants are available. Please. Look at what happened in Kumasi. A whole fire hydrant was under somebody's stall, and they had to dig to get to the fire hydrant. Please, let us wake up and do what is right. Everything is wrong by all standards. Town and country planning, is it committee or association or authority or whatever department, please be up and doing. Don't just allow people to build anywhere. even building on fire hydrants. The kings, please don't just sell any land to anybody just because you are so greedy and you're so corrupt. Lands that have been demarcated for roads, for uh, um, um, whatever purposes should be left alone. Please. And marketplaces finally should be constructed well. It should be constructed well. Other than that, we're going to be running around in circles every year, having the same issues, fire outbreaks over and over and over and over, and it's not going to end. Let us make sure our marketplaces are designed properly. Fire hydrants are available for the fire department when they show up. One of the reasons they show up with fire tenders, empty fire tenders, is because when the fire tenders are full, it is heavy to drive. So it will not make them get there faster. And sometimes when they're full, it is dangerous to drive at a certain speed. So when they come empty, they connect their hoses to the fire hydrants. So that is where they get their source of water to quench the fire or to fight the fire. So if you don't understand why they show up with empty fire tenders, that is part of the reasons. So please stay back, allow them to do their job when they show up in your community. Don't be so angry. Don't be emotionally charged and begin to react abnormally. Because the more time you argue with them, the more things are burning. So when they come, they need that peace of mind. They need that clarity of mind to do their job. So let them do their job. If you have any grievances, if there are any ills they commit within the community, that is why you have the appropriate quarters as to launch your complaint. Arguing with a fire officer or trying to fight them is not going to solve your problem. So please, let's make sure if you're building your homes, let's make sure we have smoke detectors. It is very, very vital. It is important. Sometimes they can be annoying, but it's a lifesaver. Please. It's one of the things most people don't do, especially in Ghana. But I don't think it's even that expensive. It'll go a long way to save you and save your properties, and it'll save everybody in the community. It is very important. Let us make sure our marketplaces are constructed properly. The last thing I want to say, I know my time is up. I have about 5 minutes. We all saw the video of the new Kumasi Metropolitan um, Assembly. The new boss, who was talking about whipping people in public if he comes to. I, I could not understand why he should even entertain that thought. And I heard him clearly. I played the tape several times. I wanted to hear what he was saying. I thought I was dreaming. I thought it was not coming from him. I thought it was an AI generated video where he's talking about, if I come over to the marketplaces with my men, if my men are with me and you are selling on the pavements or places, unauthorized places, we'll whip you, we will lash you in public. And I was like, what? What is this man saying? And this is an authority within the community who is supposed to be a law-abiding citizen, who is supposed to be lawful, is propagating a lawless act. And I was amazed when some of the market people were schooling him on their constitutional rights. They were schooling him on their rights. You see, we need leaders who are going to execute leadership by thinking through problems and offer proper solutions. These ad hoc measures, they don't work. It's not been working for so many years. I remember in Accra, they called something Abai, and the people would all move. Ooh. Within a matter of time, they come back to the pavement. Let us find lasting solutions to the problems. The ad hoc solutions don't work. And I don't know how long it's going to take for some of these leaders to think through this, to understand this simple concept that these ad hoc solutions don't work. So, KMA boss, I think you need to apologize to the whole country. The whole country needs an apology from you. The statement it's appalling, it's inhumane, it's I don't want to use certain words. It does not show leadership. Leaders don't come with ad hoc measures. Leaders come with lasting solutions to problems. What is the root cause of the problem? Why are these women selling on the pavements? Let us think through some of these issues. If possible, let's have a dialogue with the market women, with the market. I'm not even, I'm always saying market women, but there are some men and other people involved. Let's have a dialogue with the market people. And I really admired one lady who said, we don't even like it selling on these pavements. Because in case of a vehicle brake failure, our lives are in danger. So some of these market people are intelligent enough to offer lasting solutions to some of these problems. Bring them on board, negotiate, sit down, talk to them, listen to them, and let's find a lasting solution to some of these problems. But that public lashing and public humiliation, that is a no, 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 big no. And I don't know why you should even entertain that idea. So please, let us have a dialogue on some of these issues with some of these market people, because some of them are intelligent, as I said earlier on, enough to provide solutions to some of the problems within the marketplaces. Without much ado, I want to end here. I was going to talk about Galamsey, but I'll reserve that for next week. But I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you. DM, hey, boss man, it's been years. I hope all is well with you and the family. Yeah, hopefully we can get connected. Hey, Mrs. I see you, Mrs. I hope all is well with you and the family as well. Benny Golden, Ben Bella, I hope you're doing good. Christy Young, hey, long time no see. I hope all is well with you and the family as well. All right, I want to take this opportunity to thank all of you for being a part of Analyze This. And hopefully we're going to meet again next week, same time. Um, My name is Nana Osei Bonsu Jr. of Africa International Organization and Certo Leadership International. Hopefully, we'll meet again next week. Stay safe. Bye-bye.